have a sheet for that. All right, everyone, thank you so much for coming into our workshop. So we're just going to get right into it. This is the second series in the first workshop, so if you missed the first one, you can go back and find it on our YouTube channel. In order to be eligible for the $500 funding, you need to participate in all 3 of the workshops. So take some time, if you haven't gone through the first workshop, to just rewatch it. It should be about an hour, hour and a half. But that being said, we're going to kick off with our second workshop. Make sure to sign in, grab a form. If you don't have a piece of paper, I can come grab that to you. So I'll turn over to James and I'll get you guys a piece of paper.
Great. Thanks, guys. Welcome back. How many of you were here last time? Most of you? Half of you? A few of you? All right. Good deal. Well, we have some handouts for you that we're going to use today. And again, if you missed the first one, go back and watch it on the YouTube channel. It's, I think it's a lot of fun. At least, I don't know, the interactive parts are always fun. The lecturing part's kind of boring because it's me talking, so that's kind of boring. So this is a little bit about me. I'm a polymath, a polyglot, and an Imagineer. So those things really just mean that I know how to program in a lot of computer languages, that I know a lot of different things around the world, and I enjoy doing entrepreneurship, inventing, all that sort of stuff. So that's a little bit about me. So I'm a big fan of generalists. They say, according to statistics, that most people change careers 5 to 7 times throughout their life. This is a few of the things that I've done throughout my life, so apparently I over-exceeded that expectation slightly. So I've done software and hardware engineering, small business owner, college professor, just all sorts of different things. So I really encourage you to be a generalist, go out and learn a lot of different things, and we'll get a chance to experience that here in a minute as we go through. So for those of you that missed last week, or for those of you that have already forgotten last week, and I know how that is because, you know, you're busy, right? So we talked about what is a prototype, why do you need one, and what features should you include. So let's just review those really quick. So what is a prototype? It's basically just an example of something that you're going to build, right? It could be a physical object, it could be drawings on a paper, it could be a description of an item, whatever it is, right? So it's a first version of it that you're trying out. So why do you need one? You want to test your own acceptance, you want to fail early, right? If you don't enjoy failure, entrepreneurship is not your thing, trust me, because you're going to fail a lot. And if you don't get really good at failing, you're not going to do well in this industry. So you want to make sure you fail early, turn your bad ideas into good ideas. You want to try different options, right? What are all the different ways I could solve this problem? What are all the different ways that I could address this issue, right? And the last one is you learn by building, right? So no plan survives first contact with the enemy. And that's very, very true in business, right? Every time you try something, you're going to find all the problems with it once you actually try it out. And lastly, what are you going to do with it? What's your minimum viable prototype? It's going to be different depending on what stage you're at, right? It might just be drawings at the very beginning. It might be a physical model near the end. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't even have to be functional. For those of you that were here last time, remember the Palm Pilot? Started out as a block of wood, right? Okay, and moved on from there. So you need to have goals. Those goals are going to determine what your feature set is going to be, right? Whatever your goals are, that's how you're going to figure out what features you need in your prototype. And be sure you use the agile methodology, those really short, quick sprints. Get something out there, try it out, make changes, come back and do it again. All right, so today we're going to talk about how to conceptualize a prototype. So how do I get this from my brain into some form that I can share, right? What are the resources that I have, and how do I get started? So let's jump into this. So grab your paper. You have 9 little dots there on the top left corner. Your objective is to draw a line through all 9 dots. You only get 4 straight lines. You have to draw all 4 lines without lifting your pencil, and you have to pass through each dot exactly once. Ready, set, go. I suggest using a pencil, because you're probably going to want to try over and over again. Okay, 4 straight lines. Don't lift your pencil. Go through each dot exactly once. By the way, here's a hint. Thinking outside the box. Come on, scribble on the paper. Let's go. Try this out. Remember, the objective is to fail quickly. If you need a pencil, we've got pencils over at the desk. Nice. Good. Nice. Good. Don't do the second one. We have another puzzle, please. Just do the first one. All right. Everybody figured this out yet? I see a few that have gotten it. Remember, the objective is thinking outside the box. So if you're going to try and draw those lines inside the box, you're going to have a really hard time. If you draw outside the box, it becomes pretty easy. All right. Here's your next challenge. Now do it with only 3 straight lines. Did it with 4, now do it with 3. 3 straight lines, same rules, right? 3 straight lines, all 3 without picking up your pencil, pass through each dot exactly once. 3 straight lines. Again, thinking outside the box. How we doing? Come on. You guys need to draw more. This is an experiment. Draw on the paper. It's not going to hurt anything. Go for it. And no fair looking it up on the internet. That's cheating. Don't be that creative. How are we doing over here? We got the first one. 3 straight lines. Come on, guys. There we go. You were super, super close. There we go. Doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to work. That is not a straight line.
There's 1, 2, and 3.
3 straight lines. There we go. He's got it. All right, we got a few people that have it. 3 straight lines, okay? Outside the box, right? 3 Oh, wow. I like that. Hey, wait, that's cheating. I like that answer. All right, here's the real challenge. There's not another set of these on your paper, but here's the real challenge. Can you do it with one straight line? 1 line.
You need a really big pen for that.
No, you actually don't. This is your opportunity to be a generalist. Think like a generalist here.
It doesn't say straight, no.
Notice. It says 1 straight line. Okay. Notice this isn't thinking outside the box. This is thinking like a
I
generalist.
think yours is brilliant.
There we go. There we go. Somebody's got it. Maybe? Maybe? Okay. That's one way.
A thick line.
A really thick line.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take that. It wasn't quite, the thought process I was going through, but whatever works, right? Okay, this is where you get to think like a generalist. Somebody tell me about Edison's first record player. Describe Edison's first record player. Come on, there's got to be one history major in the room. Come on, man. Edison's first record player. Think about it for a minute. How did Edison's first record player work? How did it work?
Kind of like a music box.
We had a cylinder with one continuous line on the cylinder. One continuous line on the cylinder. Think about this for a minute. If only I had those 3 dots on a cylinder, then I could take one continuous straight line without picking up my pencil and go through all those dots, right? Think like a generalist. Think like a generalist, okay? The history of record players plays into how you answer that question, right? It's that experience. What things have you seen that don't necessarily have to do with 9 dots on a piece of paper, but involve how do I draw a straight line along a really, 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 really long path, okay? Does that make sense? Thinking like a generalist. So that's why I love generalists, right? It's being able to take something from a completely disparate world and apply it to the problem that you have at hand. So let's talk about conceptualizing a prototype. So there are a whole bunch of different processes that you can go through when you conceptualize a prototype. One of them is the design thinking process, which is this model right here. I see heads shaking, so some of you have experience with design thinking. I'm going to go through just kind of the first 3 steps, because the idea is how do I get to this prototype step, right? So number 1, this is a non-linear process. That's what the arrows are supposed to indicate up here, right? Is that I can jump back and forth, I can jump around within this process as I'm working. So the first one is to empathize, right? This is your discovery phase. I want to go find out what's going on. How do I get with this person who is my subject, who I'm trying to build this product for, right? How do I empathize with them? How do I discover what their world is like, right? Second one is define. So once I've empathized with them, I should be able to define some sort of a product, right? So what are their needs? What problems do they have? What are their pain points, right? How can I help this person? And then the last one is to ideate, right? So I want to challenge assumptions. Don't make guesses, right? Challenge your assumptions about how you solve that problem. For example, oh, that one straight line, maybe that might spiral around this object, right? Instead of just having to go back and forth. Or maybe I go completely outside the box to draw that line in order to get all those dots in, right? So I need to challenge assumptions. So let's talk about each one of those. Empathize. So number 1, how many of you have assumptions and biases? You better all raise your hands, because we all do, right? We all have biases, we all have assumptions, they're all based on our experience. What we've experienced in life is going to determine how we think about things, right? So we just need to be careful about those, about biases and assumptions, right? Like, oh, hey, I have to keep the piece of paper flat, right? That's a bias or an assumption. Well, who said I couldn't fold the paper, right? What did you do to yours, right? You were just like totally wrinkling it up, trying to get all those dots in one space to draw a line through.
This guy's was great. Just rip the paper.
Yeah, there we go. Rip the paper up, stick them get perfect, right? So you're sort of violating those assumptions and biases, and that's great. That's exactly what you want to do. So we want to observe, engage with these people, right? We want to immerse ourselves in that environment. It is super hard for you to build something in an environment that you have no experience with. So if I were trying to build some equipment to operate in the Alaska outback, that would be super hard for me, because I have never been to the Alaska outback. I am not immersed in that. I don't understand the problems that they run into. It's really, really hard for me to try and build something in that space. So I need to immerse myself in whatever it is that I'm trying to deal with, right? I need to discover their feelings, their needs, right? Feelings play a big role here, right? Oh gosh, try and go to China and build a green bike system, right? We have lots of green bikes around here. What does green mean in China? Doesn't mean the same thing as here, right? Have you ever been to a Chinese restaurant? What color is popular in Chinese restaurants?
Gold.
Red, gold, right? Red and green are sort of the opposite in Chinese culture from us, right? So a green bike system would be seen as a broken, terrible, that sort of thing, right? Citroen, for example. Lemon, great name for a car, right? Lemon, you're gonna name your car Lemon? That seems like a bad idea, right? So you've got to understand those cultures, right? You take a Citroen from France, you bring it over to America, and you translate that name to Lemon. Who wants to buy a car named Lemon? Right? So we got one. Okay? Not a great marketing ploy, right? So we need to understand those feelings. They play into that. All right. Last thing is we need to identify what their problems are. Okay? Really important, this red phrase at the bottom, right? Design thinkers spend most of their time in this step, right? We need to really understand this space before we start trying to solve problems. So we have this really excellent empathy exercise. Here we go. Do not eat your candy or trade candy yet. So Brianna's going to bring a ton of candy by to each table. Everybody take one. Don't eat it. Don't open it. Don't do anything with it yet. All right. Everybody take your candy. Grab one out of your tub. You guys can, yeah, come and grab one up here. You're fine. Everybody grab one out of the tub. I know it's a hard choice. They're all exactly the same in each tub. Okay, everybody grab a candy. Okay, show of hands. Who has their favorite candy right now? Raise your hands.
Very close.
You got 1, 2, 3, 3.5. Okay? Now what I want you to do, stand up from your seats, take your candy, go around the room, trade with somebody else. If you want. If you have your favorite, you don't have to trade. Go around the room, trade with someone else. If you can get something you like better.
Oh, yeah, well.
Would you like to trade? I'm going for quits actually.
Yeah, I'll take it.
I like it.
You did good.
All right. Everybody done trading? Anybody? All right. Okay. Show of hands. Who now has their favorite candy? Raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4.5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? We've significantly improved, right? We started out with 2.5, 3. Now we're at like 9. Okay? What did you learn in that process?
Trade.
Trade. What else? What?
You also have to trade with someone who wants what you have.
Very good. Yeah, you have to have something that's valuable to trade, right? You can't just trade nothing. You've got to have something valuable to trade. How many people here, what?
You can compromise.
Okay, compromise.
This isn't my favorite, but you know what? I'm okay with it.
Was it better than what you had? Okay. You're our one holdout. There's always one in every crowd. And that's fine, right? You traded, and maybe you improved somebody else's position, right? Even though it didn't really improve yours, but you improved theirs. So, still a good thing. Okay, how many people in here are allergic to nuts, for example? Anybody? Nut allergies?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that could be a good reason to trade, right? If you started out with a bag of peanut M&Ms and you're allergic to nuts, what's your motivation to trade?
Get out of it.
Get this thing away from me. I don't want to die. Okay? If you hate licorice and you started out with Twizzlers, maybe you want something different just because of the feeling of, man, this looks like licorice and I hate licorice and I really don't want this Twizzler, right? And you trade with somebody else. So we learn a lot as we trade with other people, right? We learn what they want, okay? What was your strategy for trading, Brianna?
I knew a lot of people like Snickers, so I tried to get a Snickers and then use that to barter for my Twizzler.
There we go, okay? So sometimes we use a little bit of knowledge, right? Of, oh, okay, let me think about what I can do to trade up here, right? I want something more valuable to be able to trade up. Okay, very good. Eat. Go for it. Eat your candy. Right? You earned it. And you're welcome to eat the rest of the stuff that's in the box on your table. Or you can go around and find something from a different box if you prefer the other stuff. All right, let's talk about the define step. Okay? So what are we doing? We're trying to identify users' needs, right? We're trying to define what is this thing? What is this monster, right? I'm looking for problems and pain points. I'm trying to verify what I think my insights are. I think there might be somebody in the room that's allergic to nuts. I need to verify that, right? Is that really true or is that not true? Okay? How are we going to do that? We're going to ask different questions, right? And we'll talk about what that means in a minute. And we're going to try divergent thinking. There's a ton of other strategies that you can use here. I'm just going to talk about a couple of them. If you go out and look in the world about how do I define the solution to a problem, you will find tons and tons and tons of different strategies for how to get there. The important part is the output. What's our output? I want a meaningful, actionable statement, something that I can do something with, right? So let's talk about different questions. So what sort of different questions are there? So why is it this way instead of some other way? How could this thing be different? What could be different about it? What does perfect look like? Forget, all the rules. What does perfect look like? What's a question that nobody else has asked about this before? What's some new question that I can ask? You might have a question storming session. You guys know what brainstorming is, right? What's question storming? You're trying to figure out a bunch of interesting questions to ask, not answers to the questions, right? So I'm looking for thought-provoking questions instead. Let's talk about divergent thinking, okay? So asking different questions is one way, divergent thinking is another one. So in divergent thinking, you can try all of these things. Some of them may or may not work in your particular situation, but try all of them, okay? You can deconstruct. So what if I took this thing apart into its component pieces? Could I put those back together in some different way, right? If I take the chocolate inside and the peanut and the coating off of an M&M, can I put those together in some different way and make a better candy, right? Can I take all the guts out of a Snickers bar and put that back together some different way and come up with a candy I like better, a treat I like better? So scale. What happens if I zoom it up bigger or smaller? We're not talking about, oh, I made it 10% bigger. No, like I made it 1,000 times bigger or 1,000 times smaller, right? Again, the idea here is to think about this in a really weird way, okay? It's not like one of these is going to produce an immediate, direct, oh, that's the solution to the problem. We're trying to get you into a mode of thinking where you're thinking outside the box and going, oh, what if I draw this line really far out here and then really far back this way and then really far back that way? Can I get through all 9 of those points with only 3 lines? So that's the goal of this type of divergent thinking, right? So scale it up huge, massive, gigantic, or really, 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 really tiny, okay? Scope, same thing, right? What if here becomes everywhere? What if everywhere becomes here? Have you guys had an example of something like that recently, say from like 2020 to 2022? What happened? Did here become everywhere? Did we go from gotta be in the room to, oh look, we can do this virtually? Okay, did here suddenly become everywhere? Did everywhere suddenly become here? Okay, that's a way of thinking outside the box, right? That's divergent thinking, okay? Sequence. What happens if we ask the question about who has their favorite candy before we hand the candy out? Okay, what if we do things in a different order? Does that get us a different result? Time, okay? What happens if time changes, right? If right now is forever, forever is right now. We take all of time and compress it into this moment. How does that change things, right? How does time change how this thing works? Same with value, right? What if bad is good or best is worse or things like that? How can I change this around? How can I change my mindset about this for a minute and go, oh, can I bend the paper? Can I draw the lines really long? Can I take the candy bar apart? What can I do? How can I divergently think about this? How can I think about it in a really weird way that is going to make me come up with some brilliant idea, right? Again, this isn't designed to give you the answer. It's designed to put you in a frame of mind where you go, oh, that would be interesting. What if I suddenly offered classes virtually instead of physically? How would that change? For me, for example, how would I change the exercises that I do in this class if I didn't have anyone in the room, right? Could I do this candy exercise if there was no one in the room? No, I'd have to think about it. How can I do this in a way that I'm able to create this virtually and have it an entire virtual class? I have to think about that divergently as a way to get there. All right, so problem statements, the output of this thing, right? They should be human-centered. We're talking about people here, right? We're solving someone's problem. So they need to be human-centered. They need to be broad enough to allow creative freedom, but at the same time, they need to be manageable. They can't just be, oh, the world is my answer, okay? Too far out there. They should answer who's your audience, what do they need, and why is it important, okay? So it should be something, it doesn't have to be exactly this form, but it should be something sort of like that. Some user needs something because here's why, right? It needs to be something in that form. So for example, entrepreneurs need to build multiple prototypes because gathering information, testing assumptions, and pivoting early is essential. Okay, so I've created this same sort of problem statement, right? Entrepreneurs need something because here's why. So that's sort of what you want to produce in the end. It doesn't have to be only one verb. It doesn't have to be only one user. It could be a group of users, things like that. But it needs to be something sort of in that form. All right, so definition exercise. We're going to talk about campus transportation. So number one, we need to identify users' needs. We need to look for problems and pain points, verify our insights, develop an action statement that looks sort of like this. Okay? You guys are welcome to work in groups at your table. Go ahead and see if you can solve this problem. Okay? Define what campus transportation is and give me one of these really nice statements as an output. Some user needs something because some reason. Ready, go. Talk amongst yourselves. Come on.
User students. Problems. Campus
Good. Nobody has to say, I don't hear you talking. How about over here? This definition at the end, so something sort of along that line. The user needs something because some reason. Okay? So take a couple minutes, figure that out, and then we'll go around table to table. Definition like this. Some users, what user did you pick?
Mainly just focusing on students trying to move throughout campus.
Okay, students. Okay, so students need what?
They need help moving across campus. We looked at the idea that the student having a class here and having to be on the opposite side of the campus would be quite hard to do. We thought about like cool escalators, like at airports.
Yeah, specifically students that are limited in their mobility.
Okay, good, excellent. All right, let's go right here. What did you guys come up with? Who was your group? Who were you talking about?
We were talking about you, and we thought about what other campuses like consoles.
Okay.
And being one place to another, like one building to another.
Okay, so you kind of broadened the scope of the user part of it, right? To just transportation in general, on campuses in general, not just universities, not just UU. Excellent, good. Did you come up with anything brilliant?
Not yet.
Give us that 20. Give you 20. We'll do that after. Okay? How about you guys? Did you guys come up with anything?
I just wrote down a non-student user on campuses because that's what I am.
Right,
So
so
that
users-
helps me empathize. Yep. Because it's daunting to think about, like, if you don't know this campus, but you signed up for a class here, how do you figure that out?
Right.
So,
Yeah. Not only do I now how to get around, I don't even know where I'm supposed to go. Right? I don't even know where I'm headed. So, excellent. Okay. How about you guys? What did you come up with? Who's your user group?
Student drivers, special business student drivers.
Okay.
There's the parking lot there is constantly full.
Okay.
We're discussing how the Walmart parking is virtually empty all the time.
Okay.
So have some sort of partner up deal. Walmart, where you can get a pass and you can just go park in their lot and Take that tunnel back and
So
forth.
every gallon of milk, get an hour of parking.
Yeah, there you go.
Right? I mean, they're going to want something out of it, right? They're going to want something out of it. Okay, excellent. How about you guys? What you come up with? Who was your user group that you were focused on?
Students,
Okay.
always. And we said a lot of like weatherable transportation, so if people have to bring materials like our students with canvases and other things, or electronics, they don't have to deal with weather or anything damaging what they have, because they need to have their equipment or materials here on campus and they're at home, safely transported with themselves and whatever they need to get here on campus.
Okay, great. Did you come up with a brilliant solution? Bubble cars, something?
A couple there. I mean, there is cars that are have like overpasses or walkways, but
That is one really nice thing about UV. Once you get inside the building, you pretty much go anywhere on campus. Yes. Vampire campus, I like it. How about you guys exhibit the boss of your
Alright, so, we came up with a few students need mega parking structure with super fast seat gondolas to park on campus. So, 14 versus 5. That's right. So the people that are funding, that's their problem.
Right, exactly. There you go. That's a different problem to solve, right? We solved the campus transportation problem. The money problem is somebody else's. Right, exactly. I like that. Okay, very good. So most of you focused on students, which is understandable. Most of you are students, right? What are some of the other groups? Like I talked to you guys about this. What are some of the other groups that might be users to fit the campus transportation thing? You guys came up with other campuses, hospitals, all kinds of different things. What other groups are there besides students? What?
teachers,
Faculty, staff,
as
yeah.
I said, there's going to be businesses that are going to be coming in to try to do internships and
Right.
recruit students. There's going to be businesses for food that will come in and need to deliver supplies
Right, very good.
on a frequent basis.
Yeah, so campus transportation doesn't even necessarily mean people, right? It might be food or paper or, I don't know, air conditioning filters, right? It could be anything, right? So it could be material as well as people. Yeah.
Personalized parking spaces for guests.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can get cars like yours in here without having to go through all the.
Right. Go through the hassle. Very good. Okay. What are some other groups? What?
Could even be like campus data transportation.
Yes.
Or, you know, idea
Video.
transportation, video,
Right.
stuff like that. It's not a thing.
Even
It's
sports.
something
good.
that's out there.
Right, yeah, so we have a really popular class and the room that we have it scheduled for is full, so how can I transport that class to another room on campus that I can use as an extended area? Excellent, great, okay. So there are a lot of things here, right? This was intentionally vague. Campus transportation, that's intentionally vague to see what you come up with as far as not only the user, but what their needs are and how you're gonna solve that problem, why they need that thing. Okay? So let's talk about the ideate step. Remember, we're going through these different steps. So the ideate step is how do I come up with some clever ideas, right? We're going to use how might we kind of questions. How might we pay for our gondolas, right? That's a how might we sort of question. How might we transfer data across campus reliably? How might we provide parking for visitors without having students just take that over, right? So I want to change the assumptions, right? What are my assumptions and how can I violate those assumptions? I want to move from, no, that doesn't work because it's going to be too expensive, right? That doesn't work, to yes, if we can find somebody to sponsor the gondolas. Or yes, and we're going to have to find a way to put advertising on the side to pay for it, right? We want to brainstorm. That's a group activity, right? You guys have just been brainstorming. You know what a brain dump is? Brain dump is where you don't get polluted by the other people that are in your group, and you just come up with everything you can think of personally before you start, right? So a brain dump activity is a personal activity where you sit there and go, okay, what's every possible solution I can think of to this? Or what's every possible user I can think of to this, right? So brain dumps usually work best if you do them before you do a brainstorming type of activity because your creativity hasn't been stifled or directed by hearing somebody else's answer, okay? Worst possible ideas. Who's ever gone out and said, oh, I'm going to come up with the dumbest idea I can think of for this, right? Okay, very good. That actually works. It sounds like a ridiculous thing to do, but that actually works really well. The worst possible idea is usually not the solution, but it may lead you to a solution. This is especially useful if you're in a group and the group is kind of petered out with ideas, doesn't really have anything else to think of. One of the ways to kind of get that going again is say, okay, everybody come up with the dumbest idea you can think of. What's the stupidest way you can think of to solve this problem, right? Worst possible idea, and then move from that. It's like, oh, well, that makes me think about, and you come up with some really brilliant thing, right? You can do sketching or storyboarding. Storyboarding is used a lot in media production, right? We storyboard a movie or a book, things like that. Or if you're the visual type and you enjoy sketching and drawing, I'm terrible at drawing. I have a hard time with stick figures, so sketching is not for me. But I know a lot of people, my daughter-in-law is an artist, and for her, sketching is fabulous. So you just got to pick the things that work for you. The other one is analogies, right? We talked about how did we solve the one-line problem? What's the analogy? Oh, record player from Edison? Okay, right? We come with data from other fields, ideas from other fields. So thinking about, that generalist idea, right? Thinking about how did somebody else solve a problem sort of similar-ish to this, right? Get me outside my circle. All right, so we have an ideation exercise here. So we need the pens and the sticky notes and the dots. So this is called a 10 by 10 brainstorm. This is something that you can do with your group if you like to help you come up with some ideas to solve problems. So step one is we're going to give each one of you a pad of sticky notes. I'm going to give you 5 minutes, and I want you to generate 15 to 20 ideas, one per sticky note. So write one idea on each sticky note, and you need to come up with 10 or 15 ideas. This is an individual brain dump sort of exercise, right? So I want you to come up with 10 to 15 individual ideas. We're going to give you 5 minutes to do that. Then we're going to randomly pose the 10 best ideas. So you're going to look at your 15 or 20 ideas. You're going to pick your 10 favorites, the 10 that you think are best, and you're going to stick those up on a glass just behind your group. So just pick a glass wall somewhere near your group. You're going to stick your 10 ideas up. Everybody else in your group is going to stick their 10 ideas up. So we should end up with a bunch of ideas on the wall, on the glass, okay? If you notice there's a duplicate from somebody else, just put the 2 sticky notes on top of each other. You don't have to talk about it. You don't have to discuss it. Just, oh, I see this is the same as that one. I'll just put my sticky note on top of that. Then we're going to give each one of you 10 little dots, little colored dots. And you're going to vote with those dots. So you're going to put as many dots as you want. You can put all 10 dots on one idea if you want. You're going to go around and go, I like that one, I like that one, I really like that one. Okay? And so you're going to vote with your dots. And then we're going to arrange those from most to least votes. Okay?
And it has to be on improving the movement of students on campus.
Yeah, so the problem that we're going to do, right, is how might we improve the movement of students on campus? So that's what we're trying to solve. Okay, so I'm going to start the timer here. We got 5 minutes, and I want you to generate 15 to 20 ideas. Remember, each idea is on a separate sticky note. get stuck, just start writing the most terrible idea you can think of. What's my worst idea for how to solve this, right? All right, we're about halfway through. You should have at least 10 ideas written down by now. If you haven't, write more. Start writing faster. Come up with dumb ideas if you have to. It doesn't matter. The more you write, the more ideas will come to you. Okay, you got about 90 seconds left. All right, it's a 1 minute sprint here. Try and get at least another 4 or 5 ideas in the next 60 seconds. All right, 10-second warning. Get that last idea down. All right, time's up, pens down. Okay, here's what I want you to do. You guys just grab that glass right behind you right there. Find your 10 best ideas. I want you to go through, you personally, don't show to anybody else, you personally pick out your 10 best ideas, okay? And then I want you to just randomly stick them on the board. You don't have to put them all together, you can just spread them out wherever. So you guys are going to use that glass, you guys use the next glass over, you guys use the glass behind you right there, you guys use the glass behind you right there. You guys on the back right here, use the glass on this side. You guys right here, use the glass on that side. Okay? Post your 10 best ideas. Don't put them all together, just spread them out. Everybody, put them all together. Your 10 best ideas and everybody else from your group. What are your 10 best ideas? Get them up on the board. If you notice a duplicate, just put yours on top of the one that's already there.
It's all yours? Yeah.
Just put your 10 best up, just mix them with everybody else's. Don't try and put yours all together, just mix them all together. It doesn't matter.
Decide my book number 10.
Just put your 10 favorite ideas up. All right. Brianna's handing out dots to everyone. Each one of you has 10 dots. I want you to look at the ideas that are in your group. Okay, all the ideas that got posted by your group, and I want you to vote with your dots. You can put as many dots as you want on any individual idea. You can put dots on your own ideas. That's totally fine. Vote with your 10 dots. You have to use all 10 dots.
Just sell it over here. I have standard issue keys. So.
No, I have Haley's.
This is really good.
Yeah, come on.
Put them in your group. Individual groups. Stay together. Okay? Vote within your group. Take your 10 dots and vote within your group. Just put dots on the sticky note for the idea that you like best.
So we have to vote.
Vote for your own. You can put as many dots as you want on one idea. You can vote for your own ideas.
Let's vote for.
Just put dots on your favorite.
I think this, I need to be guessing. As I was walking around, there's like restaurants over there, and there's like a mural over here, and there's like kind of
It's not.
fun things scattered around. You know, one place.
Are we doing it just within our own group? Just within your own group.
I think we need to do this because we
Get in your lane.
to guess what the demographic action is. I mean, I've gone from one end of the campus to the other, but how many of us do that? I don't know.
So you get a better
No explaining, just vote.
How many?
Vote on the idea, no explaining, just vote.
That's what I said. It's like,
You don't understand it, don't vote on it.
Yeah, people will resist good.
because I feel like that's.
It's a perpetual here.
You just need to have trams out here all the time.
Tram's kind of the same idea, but then, from up one end to the next. But again, it depends on what we discover here.
It doesn't have to be one dot.
And all the places, and locations. Yes, I like that. A horse? Awesome.
It looks like the top of the hill type of
I feel like that would make things parking lots easier. Walmart parking lot?
Okay, hurry and finish voting. In about another 30 seconds. You have to use all 10 of your dots.
Oh, you asked so much.
They do become more like you might do that. You gotta dip on the work every time you try to do it.
The students on campus. That's smart.
Free money.
All right, get your last dots on there. We're going to start arranging.
Just to
Let's go. This is a quick
traffic
exercise.
lines between classes.
All right, now that all your dots are on there, I want you to go through in each group and just basically arrange the stickers. Highest number of votes to lowest number of votes. If it has no votes, just take it off the wall. Just pull it off the wall if it has no votes. Just arrange them on the wall, top to bottom or side to side. Most votes to least votes. Doesn't have any votes, take it off.
How many of the sticky notes have 3? Issue Haley says 3. Okay. Anyone have 4? Because we have searching back into the 5. And then we have 3. So.
Group your stickers. Highest votes to lowest vote. If it doesn't have any votes, just throw it away. Take it off the wall. I want to go around from group to group, and I want to hear the top 2 ideas that got the most votes on your wall. Got them arranged? All right. This group over here, tell us your top 2 ideas. What got the most votes?
Mini campus shuttles to shuttle people around campus, and then it's a tie between 4 of them.
Okay, tell us all 4.
All right, incentives for taking public transport, student schedule enhancement, classes located close together, slides, and then moving walkway across hallways.
Okay, great. How about you guys? Tell us your top 2.
I thought it would be nice if UVU had a free, like, scooters to use throughout the campus, or bikes, segways,
Right, like a shared scooter kind of a thing?
Yeah,
Okay.
specifically for UVU.
Okay.
And then number 2 was a tie between kind of individual lanes in the hallways, talking on the phone with your friends.
Right.
And how
So
to walk
fast
in
lane, slow lane kind of thing?
yeah.
Okay.
And how to walk in the hallway, mandatory class for everybody.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
How about you guys? What did you come up with? What's your top 2?
We had 2 ties.
Okay.
One being, we had 3 ties, but one being senior parking.
Okay.
And another one that had 3 votes was validating the demographics of the problems that the students actually had, so we actually know what's going on.
Okay.
And
Okay, excellent. How about you guys?
So we had indoor bike pass as our number 1 voted, and then number 2 was Walmart parking.
Okay, excellent. Great. I like it. Indoor bike pass. I like that. That's awesome. Okay, how about you guys? What'd you come up with over here?
We did vacuum or suction tubes.
Oh, nice.
Like on Futurama.
Yeah, so like little pneumatic tubes for students. I like it. I assume this is for, I'm going to jump in the student.
Yeah, you've seen Futurama, right?
Right, yeah.
You know, like the bank system, you get little shelter
Right. I like it. Okay.
Introducing running lanes, parking, and like robot shuttles, and
Okay.
Keeleys. So.
Okay, I like it. Excellent. All right, did I miss anybody? I think we got all of them. Okay, excellent. All right, so this is the 10 by 10 exercise, right? This is a way that you can very quickly go through. Okay, this was, like 10 minutes, right, of time. We were a little bit over, but this is basically 10 minutes of time, right? So 5 minutes to come up with ideas, a minute to pick out your best and post those, 3 minutes to vote, and 1 minute to arrange all of those at the end. And now you have a set of ideas that you can work with. You don't have to just use the top 2. You can take the top 5 or the top 10. You can evaluate all those, discuss the ones that came in the best, and go, okay, how can we make this even better, right? We came up with a good idea, but how can we make it better? So that's the 10 by 10 ideation exercise. There are tens of thousands of ways of doing this sort of thing, right, of different ideation exercises. So let's talk about resources for developing your prototype. We've already talked a little bit about Legos and Connects and clay and these other sorts of building toys, right? I love those things. I have tons of toys on my desk. I have lots of different things just to play with. Play-Doh, just all sorts of stuff, right? Silly putty, all kinds of different things. So I really suggest lots of toys as a way to build because it's really easy. They're meant as building toys, right? Erector sets, all those things are meant as building toys. So if you're trying to do some physical thing, a broom to sweep concrete, for example, okay, then building toys are great to be able to sort of piece that together and go, okay, here's my prototype, here's an example. Cardboard, foam core, coroplast, balsa wood, all those things are also great. I have a ton of cardboard at my house. I intentionally keep cardboard because I use it all the time. I have a cardboard knife that's really excellent. If you've never gotten a cardboard knife, I strongly encourage you to go buy one on Amazon. They're like $5 or $10. It's kind of like the pumpkin carving knives where you could run it across your hand and not get cut by it, but it cuts cardboard beautifully. It's so great at cutting cardboard. So if you're going to work in cardboard, I strongly encourage you to go get a specialized cardboard knife. They're great. But I keep cardboard at my house because it's such a great medium, and it's essentially free, right? You get an Amazon box, you get cereal boxes, all kinds of things like that. Break those down and just hang on to them because they're great building materials. I also use them, I have a laser cutter, so I also use cardboard a lot to do a prototype cut of whatever it is that I'm building to say, okay, is that going to work for me? I can make it out of cardboard instead of wood or other material that's way more expensive, right? Because I got the cardboard for free. So foam core, coroplast, all those things are also great tools. Just depends on what you enjoy working with. If you're doing something that's not a physical thing, but more of an app or a website or those kind of things, there are a lot of no-code solutions. How many of you know how to use PowerPoint? Cool, you know how to build prototypes for apps, right? It's called slideware, right? It's been around forever. It's the idea of building something in PowerPoint or Google Slides or whatever, right? But building something in PowerPoint that allows you to simulate how you want this to work. That can be a website, it can be a game, it can be an app, it can be any sort of virtual tool that you're building. You can build in PowerPoint really easily. So none of you have excuses for, I have this cool idea for an app, but I don't know how to build it, okay? Go build it in PowerPoint, right? That's the way that you can build your prototype and see if it's going to be good or not. You can use sketchbooks, butcher paper, any sort of drawing pads, anything like that. If you're that visual sort of person that's better than me with stick figures, you can draw stuff out using any of those. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with stick figures, okay? I do draw stuff occasionally. I have been known to actually create storyboards. They look awful, but I have created storyboards before for videos that I've shot and stuff, okay? So there's nothing wrong, even if you have terrible drawing skills like me, there's nothing wrong with using those drawing tools as well. The last one I want to mention, if you're looking for parts for something, I need a whatever widget in order to build my physical item, I can't think of any place better than McMaster-Carr to go look for pretty much anything you need. Screws, bolts, actuators, motors, you name it, McMaster-Carr carries it, okay? So if you need a part, a thing, a widget, McMaster-Carr probably carries it, and if they don't, it probably doesn't exist, whatever it is you're looking for, okay? They carry everything. So, great resource for that. All right, where's Megan at? Is she hiding in the back?
Yeah.
Well, tell her she's on. We need our creative licenses here, so.
I have my
All right. Megan, this is another one of those art things. So I handed Megan this really, let's be honest, it was pretty ugly.
I wouldn't say it was ugly. It wasn't Megan's.
Brianna is way nicer, okay? Trust me, it was pretty ugly. And Brianna handed it over to Megan, and Megan made these really beautiful creative licenses for you. So, but when you steal one of those, I'll hold it up.
We don't have the names on them,
Yeah,
so
that's
it's write your own name.
I can do that. Okay? So we're going to hand out these really nice creative licenses. Okay? So everybody, you'll have to fill your own name in, but everybody's going to get a creative license today. Okay? So I'll read this to you. It says, creative license. This certifies that, fill in your name, is recognized as a creative individual who possesses the quality and ability to think creatively and problem solve in innovative and unique ways. Awarded this 17th day of October, 2022 by the Entrepreneurship of the UVU. This is your license to be as creative as you want with no limitations, okay? I know it's really silly, right? You're getting this dumb piece of paper, it's like, okay, this is really dumb. I promise you, take this home, go buy a really cheesy 99-cent frame at the dollar store, write your name on it, put it on the wall at your house, or put it on your desk, wherever you work, right? Wherever you're doing your creative stuff, put this out there. And when you think to yourself, oh man, I cannot figure this out, seriously, I know it sounds silly, look at your creative license, read it, and believe it, and say, okay, I can do this. I have a license to do this, officially licensed by UVU to be creative, okay? So go be creative. All right. So let's talk about getting started. How do you get started, right? This is one of the hardest steps. How do I get started? Walt Disney says the way to get started is stop talking and start doing. Okay? I've encouraged you to do this multiple times during the session, right? Oh, I can't think of anything to write down. Just start writing. Something will show up. Oh, I can't think of any good ideas. Cool. Write down bad ideas, right? Stop talking, start doing. Henry Ford says, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're probably right. Okay? So if you don't think you can, well, okay, you're probably right. But if you think you can, you'll probably get there. Another Disney quote, if you can dream it, you can do it. Disney has done some amazing, incredible things in the world. You go back and look at the history of Disney's original mechanism for creating cartoons, animation, things like that. Just amazing, amazing stuff that they've come up with. Nelson Mandela, it's always impossible until somebody does it. Okay? Interesting story. I use this as a Scoutmaster's Minute sometimes. So, up until, and I can't remember the year, 1954, 1957, it was widely believed that no human being could run faster than a 4-minute mile. It was physically impossible. Humans were incapable of running faster than a 4-minute mile. Anybody know this story? What happened?
I forgot what his name was, but some guy in England, he finally did it. It was like 359.7, barely.
Is it Usain?
So that's really interesting, right? So an Englishman finally did this in I can't remember, 54, yeah. Okay? Some Englishman finally did it. He ran just barely under 4 minutes. So that's kind of cool on its own. What happened after that?
There's like thousands of people that now ran.
Yeah. Suddenly, the world changed. Gravity must have changed, right? Wind resistance was different after 1954 because dozens of people did it the next year, and then hundreds, and then thousands of people were suddenly capable of running faster than a 4-minute mile. What happened? What really happened? It's impossible until somebody does it, and then it's not. Who thought, oh man, you know, we could reuse rocket segments if we could just land them on a moving barge in the middle of the ocean? That'd be cool. We could just reuse these. Who thought that was a good idea? Someone came up with this, right? Before that, it was, oh, let's just let them splash in the ocean and not reuse them, right? But some crazy guy named Elon Musk said, hey, you know what? I'm going to land a rocket, a robotic rocket, on a robotic platform moving in the ocean. I'm going to make that happen. And everybody said, you're nuts, dude. That is not going to happen. Until he did it. And now it's super common, right? They re-land rockets all the time. Okay? So it's impossible until somebody does it. The Nike logo, right? Just do it. So the short answer is, the best way to get started is just to start. Just do something. Start with something, right? Some of you I saw, I won't point out names, some of you I noticed had a real challenge with that, right? When we were doing the 9-dot exercise. Some of you had a really hard time taking a pencil and putting it on the paper and just try something. Just start scribbling, okay? So this is a challenge, it really is. Okay, so if you want to get started, start. Just go. Ready, set, go. Do it. Okay, make it happen. So that's how you get started. All right, so today we talked about how do you conceptualize a prototype, what resources can you use for developing that prototype, and how do I get started? And how do we get started? Just do it, right? Just go. Start. Make something happen. All right, next time we have rewards. I think Brianna is going to... Oh, all right.
But
CJ.
Before you do, I want to announce upcoming events real quick.
Go
And we
for
do
it.
have lunch, so just tell your growling tummies that we will be feeding you, as we always do. We'll do the giveaway in just a second, but I also wanted to just remind you all that coming up on Halloween, October 31st, costumes not required but encouraged, we're having an intellectual property workshop. So come with any questions that you might have about any patents, trademarks, copyrights, any IP considerations. We're going to go over just the basics, but then you can really dig in with any specifics that you have for your business. Question?
Well, that'd be strange.
Yes.
And why are we doing it on the 31st? Because intellectual property is scary.
Super scary. And then November 2nd, we have our We Lift Wednesday. That's our initiative to empower and connect our women entrepreneurs, but all men are welcome, of course. And the topic is becoming the entrepreneur you're always meant to be. Learn to overcome self-conscious bias, discover your superpowers, and build habits to optimize your day. So tell your friends, bring your sister, your mom, your daughter, and attend this one. It's going to be November 2nd at 12, and lunch is also provided on that one as well.
And these flyers are over on the desk, so if those are interesting to you, you want to grab a flyer so you don't forget, feel free to grab those from the desk.
And tomorrow is VentureCon, so from 11:30 to 2 p.m. out in the or 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. over in the Hall of Flags. We're going to have student businesses and alumni businesses just selling their products. So swing by, see what's up, see what your fellow students and peers are working on. It's cool stuff. Now we have 6 wonderful giveaways from Play-Doh to notepads. So, y'all ready for the drum roll? Let's get this started. Okay, our first winner is Trevor Western. Oh, you know it. Our next winner, oh, it's me. CJ King won. I got Play-Doh.
Sure, wait a second. I think I should check.
Yeah. CJ King, second one on there.
Wow, yeah,
Because our next winner
your
is...
name is on the other side like 8 times.
No, it's not. Next one is Lydia Forrest. I hope this said that right. There you go. Now moving on to the notebooks, we have Gavin Mclaren. Where's Gavin at?
He had to step out for a second.
Oh, well, he doesn't get his thing then.
I'll take it.
No, sir. Because LOI Scott.
There we go.
There you are. Okay, you gotta forgive me on this one because it starts with a Z. It's Zarissa Jardine. Woo!
You did pretty good. It's Sarissa.
Okay. And our final winner of the biggest in the little notebook is Alex Strasberg. Oh. There you are. And now we have sandwiches in the conference room, so feel free to come grab a sandwich.
And join us again next week, same time for phase 3, or the 3rd workshop of our 3-stage workshop series.
So next time we're going to talk about building a prototype, what to do with it, and what your next steps are. So we have a bunch of manufacturing companies coming in next week that you're going to want to interact with. They're going to be great. They'll stay around after, so you'll have a chance to go up and talk to the groups that you're interested in. So make sure you come next week. And those of you that are online,